So there's this thing that I used to do. I used to like review games and even give some gaming news, but then I stopped after a while. After all this stuff started happening, like fall, the Bethesda that we all thought we knew just went turned completely corrupt, and Fallout 4 is a complete disappointment to me. And I just, I decided to give them benefit of the doubt. I wanted to, you know, check out their new game. It was like, well, not check out their new game. I never bought it. I didn't even want to get it because I knew it was going to be terrible. Uh, just by looking at it. And then I don't know. China was getting so involved in it, and there was just so much politics going on. And gamers were just being attacked as Nazis and stuff. People were criticizing Battlefield 5. Were being called sexist for because there were women in the game. And the thing is, people who play World War games, a lot of people are pretty passionate about their history. And when they saw some women in it, it was I believe it was a woman with a cricket bat who was also missing an arm. And it was a bit confusing to me. Okay, it's not necessarily historical, but it looks like it could have happened in the sense that certain citizens got left there. That would be the only explanation. The only problem is the only woman who was in the resistance during the World War II was from New Zealand. Most of them were French, Belgian, and I'm talking about this like all across the states, the countries that Germany took over, and all that stuff. So I didn't want to get into it because it just suddenly turned political, and everyone was getting attacked as being sexist, despite the fact that what I was looking at didn't look historical at all. Because I appreciate my history. I actually know one uh about I'll just say half the things that went on because there's always more things that you can learn about World War II. I'm still learning about things every day, you know. And there were a lot of famous women that could have been put in that game, but weren't, which is shocking to me. There were resistance fighters that you found on Call of Duty 2, and there was also a Russian sniper, Call of Duty 1. They didn't do that. Instead, they just did something in Norway where they replaced the Norwegian resistant commandos, people who escaped the German onslaught. They just replaced them with women. So why are you doing that? Why are you disrespecting the Norwegians? Why are you disrespecting the people who died in Norway trying to fight the Germans? That was ugly. I was like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I wanted to get in the gaming to get out of politics. Y'all saw me do these political rants, and I'm like, I don't want to do that because it's not fun and it's not healthy. But anyways, like I said, I used to do this gaming news, and sometimes I would talk about games. And this is nothing really negative. Oh, well, maybe it is a little negative about the game, but this game I really enjoy playing it. Okay, and it's called Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. Bannerlord it's in beta right now, which is fine. If it were placed out and considered a finished game, I would basically be very, very angry and call them the new Bethesda. But so far, it's not too bad. The gameplay, that is pretty good. I enjoy it. I don't like the part where this isn't campaign, but if your skill set you get it to 300 with an axe, you start swinging it like crazy fast. Okay, which is fun. But it also makes it so that the axe doesn't connect with the enemy. So if you eventually become extremely good with the axe, you're also extreme. It becomes extremely useless. But otherwise, I really enjoy the gameplay. There are just 4 ways to attack an enemy with a sword. You're gonna like move the mouse to the left. Your sword is going to swing from the left. You move the mouse to the right. The sword's going to swing from the right. You move the mouse forward a little bit. You're swinging from the top, and then you go in for the stab. And I like the stab because the better shielded enemies will become harder to kill. But if you stab them in the face, then that's, their face is usually not shielded. So it's just, you can just get them pretty well. And the armor kind of makes no sense in terms of arrows and rocks hitting it. And I was trying to put together a video, but then it turns out my recording was terrible. But I was trying to put together a video of me playing the game. And I was wearing pretty decent armor, but the rocks did like 5-16 damage for 100 health. And I was basically wearing gambeson and a metal helmet that should have it should have at least reduced the damage to 1 damage, because they're basically throwing rocks at you. It would make more sense if it did damage to you if they were using slings. You ever seen a video of some guy, some professional slinger? He throws a rock at this like pot or something. It's just it's like I guess it's supposed to be very resistant to damage or something, because it was like one of those extremely well heated pots. He does a sling at it, and it just shatters. He shatters it because he's just so skilled, and the rock goes so fast at that thing. And then you go onto the arrows, and it just hits you like it treats you like sweet cheese. You ever read about history, and you look at these, read about these knights in these heavy armor, and the archers try to take it out. They have a really hard time destroying their armor. They don't even wear shields. Their armor is just that good, and the arrows just either bounce off, or or they have something over it to prevent the arrows from bouncing everywhere, and it just goes in there, and it doesn't do anything. It'll dent it, that's for sure. So it can hurt you, but it's not going to kill you. The only way they're going to actually kill you is if they get a lucky shot. And this one, it does like 16 damage, 16 to 36 damage. And sometimes it will just do 56 damage at the medium tier armor. And it's just, and I've seen some demonstrations of, basic armor that I guess a rich warrior could get. A wealthy warrior, someone who's fought plenty of times. This is like a 160, 180 pound bow hitting this guy with with the arrow just flying at him, hitting the armor, bounces right off. It dents it a couple times, but it bounces right off most of the time. And it just seems weird to me. It makes no sense. That makes no sense about arrows. It kind of ruins the fun of the game, where you have top tier armor and the arrows can still do like 10 damage to you. And it should just reduce it to 1, because it makes no sense. This is like top tier armor in the game. What's the point in going to top tier armor? It made me not want to get this armor is it just didn't become worth it. You're better off getting a very impressive shield because your armor is useless against arrows. It does pretty good against weapons, so I guess there's that. But I prefer to fight from behind. I command my armies from the back. Oh, no, I'm kidding. Sometimes I don't. I like to swing my axe at enemies sometimes with the very heavy armor I have, and it does pretty well, unless there's an archer that shows up and it will just one-shot you. But yeah, I pretty much enjoy the gameplay sometimes. Um, so the graphics, I gotta say, well, that doesn't really matter. It's definitely better than Mountain Blade 2. I mean, not Mountain Blade 2. I mean, Mountain Blade Band. I was just saying a lot. And they don't really, in terms of the Mountain Blade, you don't really need to focus on the graphics. You put it on the lowest sets of graphics, it still looks better than Mountain Blade Warband, but it kind of looks terrible as well. But I'm saying this because if you want to battle with over 1,000 troops on the field, you have to lower it that much. I have a 960, NVIDIA 960 GTX, and at best I can get 750 troops on the field. And that's about it. This is for 1.4.0, by the way. If I put it on 1.4.1, which is currently at the time I'm recording this, which is it's they're currently working on that. There are a lot of bugs in that one. And in terms of that, I mean when they were fixing the performance, there were an awful lot of bugs, and that really bugged me. No pun intended, but it really did. And so I just returned to 1.4.0, which is where I had the mods in, and which comes to the castles. The castles make no sense in terms of when you're fighting them. You go from the map, overworld map, you're walking around, and you see this castle, you want to besiege it. And when you enter those castles, or maybe you're not besieging it, you just want to enter it. And when you enter those castles, the location makes no sense, including the towns. I've gone to a town that's right next to the sea, and you want to look at their fishing docks and stuff because you see this huge port, and you find a river. There was a sea right behind it. Why is there a river with land on the other side? That makes no sense. There was a huge port there for like trade and such. I think in the future they're planning to have the boats and stuff because there's no city in the middle of these islands that exist. There really need to be ports, usable ports, I'd say. But the castles, oh, they're simultaneously great, but they make no sense. You can upgrade the castles, which is cool. There's tier 1, where you can practically use ladders and in a more safer way, I mean. But in every besiege, you can opt to just use ladders, or you can use those siege things. I forget what they're called. The ones that you put that provide a bit protection when going up the walls. Well, the tier 1, you can practically bring your horse up there. For the tier 1 with a siege ladder, because the wall's so short that all you need is a ramp instead of ladders. Tier 2 is a little bit higher, a lot harder, and basically that's technically all you need for the defense. But tier 3 makes it definitely more difficult because it makes the enemy or your troops take a bit more time to get up there, which gives a bit more time for the enemy catapults to fire upon them, or your ally catapults to take it out for the enemy, because I guess they're spies or something. So the sieging is a hell of a lot better, a hell of a lot better than Mountain Blade Warband. A lot better, even with the mods that you put on Mountain Blade Warband. Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, the sieges is just so much more fun because instead of like immediately having a walls destroyed and there's like ladders or you already have a pre-made siege engine, you can get like a ramming that you can go through their doors. You can ram their doors with, or you can just use the siege ladders, and that's a lot more fun. Of course, I have my I have to criticize it because you can definitely the sometimes the castles. I guess I can't criticize it too much, but for the castles and towns, I hate the place where they spawn because where they spawn. Sometimes when you're already in there with troops everywhere, the enemy will spawn directly to where your siege engines will go, and that's not fun at all. Because they'll just spawn right behind you a lot of times, and that makes it really difficult for you. And I would really prefer that they spawn behind the castle doors or something, or behind the fort, because there are other walls, extra walls where they can pull back to defend. And I really want them to add the part where the enemy can start spawning further and further back if they manage to take the walls. Because if they manage to take the walls, people have to work to go take it back, and so that they don't have to spawn at the start. Because it just, there's so much space in the game. There's so much space. And, like, I really wanted to go fight inside the castle uh, headquarters or something. Where the Lord usually is. Where they're defending it's the final place of defense instead of them just fighting to the last man against the main walls. Because in the towns, there's the place of governance, and there's a lot more defenses that I will see when I'm running in, chasing down people who are running away. And there are these extra defenses that they could have used. Like, we had already taken the walls, and they were just still trying to retake it. They could have just retreated. They didn't, because the spawn is still over there next to the walls. They should move back the spawn where they could defend a harder to get to place. Because it's just, it annoys me that you can't do that. And I'm hoping that they'll change it later on to add it so you can spawn in those areas instead of just spawning next to the walls. But otherwise, it's a huge improvement compared to Mountain Blade Warband. Um, what else? The missions are kind of broken. Uh, that's to be expected. It's still in beta. It's been on for like 7 years and nightmarish, just development hell. So I can't really complain about it. Something tells me that they needed more game testers uh, to get their game to actually work. Is but the other in the mission, there are no pretenders compared to how there were in Mountain Blade Warband. Mountain Blade Warband, you had these pretenders who wanted to also rule. They're classified as pretenders with the game files, and you can opt to support those people, and you go on a revolution or rebellion, and you oust the leader and such. Um, those aren't there. That I guess that's my only criticism. So when you're starting on the mission, there's a civil war going on between the three There's the Southern Empire, the Western Empire, and the Northern Empire, and they all have their different ideologies. The Southern Empire is more of a monarchy. The Western Army is more of a military uh, country. Northern Empire, I can't remember. I think they're the most. The Northern Empire, I think, is the one that wants the original empire the most. And then there's all these kingdoms. There's the Aesir, there's the Khuzaits, the Sturgians, the Patanians, and the Vlandians, all surrounding this empire. And it's pretty chaotic, I gotta say. There's a war going on almost all the time, 24/7. And let's see. The Khuzaits can easily destroy the empire because they all have horses. Horses everywhere. It drives me insane. Like you can't. You'll need a very large amount of infantry to be stacked all together in a shield wall. Not a shield wall, in a square, because that's the only best way to get them. You have to have or you could do a circle with the archers in the middle. But the circle isn't very effective, in my opinion, because the archers will just hit an infantryman from behind. And the horse archers, I mean. So I usually just go with a square with the archers further back because most of the enemy will focus on legionnaires. However, you don't want to lose your archers if there's horsemen, so you might want to put them in there where maybe in a square or circle or something, because it's terrifying, those horsemen. Like everyone else has horses, and you get Busolari, and it's really difficult to get those equites. I call them equites because that's some people call them equites. That's not how you pronounce it. I don't want to piss people off, so I'm gonna call it equites. Those are hard to get because historically wise, these were supposed to be rich people, rich people who could get their own horses and go and fight, and they get even richer and stuff, and they get better armor. Well, these are so difficult to get, and especially when you have to go to these settlements, and you have to make them like you so you can get better tier recruits, or just get more recruits. And I just want to recruit people. You had to wait for a quest for these guys to give, and sometimes it's the quest that makes another settlement hate you, so I just don't bother, because unless the settlement involved has equites or horsemen, I'm not going to bother with that quest. And what else? Well, basically in the mission, or in the campaign, I'd say there are a lot more women fighting than usual, and it would make more sense for the Patanians and the Vlandians, but not so much as the Empire and the Aserai. I can see Khuzaits because there's this famous story of a woman who could fight like any other man, and when his father, who loved her very much and always bragged about her, he tried to find a suitor for her, but she wanted the man she was to marry to be very tough, to be able to beat her in battle. No one could defeat her. Not a single person. Nada. Eventually, her father had to convince her to marry someone, and she chose some random guy, in my opinion, just some random guy that she liked the most, and that was that. So yeah, I can see women fine in there, in the Khuzaits. Uh, the Empire, they have a queen, so I guess. Well, they turned into monarchy, so yeah, I guess so. Why not? Um, and military. I I guess it's a bit more. It has less people who make things harder for you because you're a woman. And gameplay wise, I think that's better because it allows you to play as a female character that you can look at without getting too much trouble because of it. So, as always, there are four ways you can do the mission. Play the campaign. You got a quest going on. You gotta find out about this flag or banner, hence the name Bannerlord. Then you get four options. Um, you can either create an empire or support one, uh, and you like rebuild the empire, or you can create a kingdom or support a kingdom and destroy the empire. Which is basically it. I haven't finished the game. It's really hard. It takes a really long time to finish, so there's going to be an awful lot of grinding and gameplay wise. And then grinding is not bad, I'd say. It's just you will really need to look for allies. You need allies to be able to be successful. Get them. You, because a lot of people, when you do the quest for creating an empire stuff or something, a lot of people are going to declare war on you. And the diplomacy really annoys me because you can't propose peace or anything. If you're the ruler or something, it really annoys me. I had to go directly to an enemy and just, propose peace and give them something like a prisoner or anything else. Um, but otherwise, it's pretty much unfinished. It's 1.4.0, and it's really buggy. The campaign, which is, I guess to be expected. But like I said, really buggy. But I do enjoy it. I added some mods in order to make the battles larger, not in terms of like on the battlefield, but in terms of how many troops the enemy will have. And I haven't fixed the part where the enemy has a bunch of food or anything, because or food production and stuff. Food production, I haven't really been able to find a mod for that. Other than the food protection on the towns and cities when you want to have, these larger militias and cities. I just wanted to have larger battles, okay? So I made it so that everyone could get larger armies and stuff. And I find that to be enjoyable. Fighting against larger armies. Currently, I can have like 600 troops, and some other armies have like other parties can have 400, and you put them all together, you can have a little over, I don't know, 3,000. Uh, Depending on how many allies, you can probably get 10,000 late game. That I just wanted to have large armies with, so I did this mod. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether you want to buy it, but I enjoy the game. I really do, and I'm already addicted to the game, and I recommend you give it a try. And you don't like it for the first, I think you have like 20 minutes to play the game or an hour. I don't know. If you didn't like it for that first hour, just give it, get a refund. But I think if you just want to play the multiplayer and all that, I think you'll be good. It'll be a lot of fun. You get all this cool fighting. The gameplay is good. Um, yeah. So it's already been 30 minutes since I've done this, so I'm gonna have to stop already because this is gonna be expensive to upload on BitChute. So that means I can't upload my gameplay on the background. But yeah, I'm gonna have to leave. That's all I have to say about this game. 1.4.0 Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. Very, very enjoyable game, and I recommend it uh decently. Sort of. It's not the best it can be, but it's a really fun game to play. And yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and good day.